Morning. Welcome to this Yin practice on this late Tuesday morning. So, welcome. I'm excited to be here and to teach this class. So, a few things for today. We'll go into the saddle pose. We'll do half, and time permitting, we'll try to go into the full. So that's one where one knee or leg is behind and one leg is forward for the half. And then the full, if we can get there, or at least a variation of it, both feet will kind of be behind us a little bit. So make sure you've got the proper support to make that challenging, but not painful, numbing, or anything like that. Also, you'll want a strap or a belt stay. We will start off with a little bit of a shoulder stretch with this. And we will actually start off doing a little bit of a hip and a leg opener, preparing us for the saddle peak poses with this. So we're going to start a little bit different than what we normally do. Okay, so that being said, finding your nice, comfy seat, whatever that looks like for you. And think about the ears, shoulders, and hips in alignment. Draw up from the pubic bone behind the navel, belly button in. Slight tuck in the chin. And then from here, just connect and come into your practice. So just doing a little body scan here. Is there anywhere you need to send some extra attention? Do you need to soften anywhere? As you inhale through the nose, can you find some nice good expansion in that rib cage? And maybe slowly release it from crown to tail. Good, and then from here we'll inhale again. Hold. And slowly release. Good, so from here, good, I'm gonna take my fingertips to the side. Palms turning up. Inhale, reach, and lengthen nice and tall. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands into heart center. Good. Creating an intention for your practice. What would you like to give or receive? Maybe you'd like to dedicate this practice to someone or something. And if you're kind of drawing a blank, so mine this week as I move forward to launching websites and different things like that is clarity of purpose. So if that is one you would like to take, you can. And once you're ready, big inhale, take it up, turning palms away, growing taller from crown to tail as you bring down those arms. Okay. So from here, we're just going to go right into a body wave. So nice big exhale, and then we'll inhale and open, and exhale, inhale and open, exhale, inhale and open, open, open. Just pause that breath for a moment, and then release, coming back to center. Good, so we're going to take our strap now. So my strap is, kind of like a typical strap size. I am going to fold it in half. Good. And then I'm going to thread that between the pointer and the thumb. And I've got some tautness here, so I'm not kind of letting it go into a curvature. So pull nice and tight. Big inhale, reach and lengthen without the chest popping forward. Can you take that back? Good. So hold here and expand. And then maybe from here, just kind of take it over towards your left. You can take that gaze where you need it. Good. And then using your obliques, your side abs on your opposite side, we're going to come back to center. And then go right into the other side. Breathing and expanding. And then coming back up. Relax the shoulders. So mine had a little creepy there. So kind of relax the shoulders and take that down. Good. So from here, now we're going to take this a little bit more open, a little bit wider. So I'm gonna take mine shouldn't say that. When you're a short person, you have short arms, so you have to kind of make things work just a little bit differently in order to have clearance. So from here, I'm gonna take this back. Good. I'm gonna take it back a little bit more than I did before. So you wanna keep your arms long here. So if you do need to take your arms wider, or your grip wider to make that happen, that's fine. So I'm just enjoying the stretch. And then I'm gonna come back up. Good. Now from here, I'm just gonna leave my hands where they are on the strap. I'm just gonna take this over. Good. And I'm gonna plant this hand down, and I'm gonna use the strap to assist me as we open through the chest and the armpit and the shoulder a little bit more. So I'm just gonna open here, looking behind, and I'm just gonna hold that there for a moment, getting that nice stretch. I'm still breathing and expanding. And then from here, coming back to center. Good, I'm gonna pick up that bottom part, come back to center. Taking it over to the other side now. Good, anchor your hand. And then from here, I'm just gonna open, again, getting into that chest, into the armpit, maybe that bicep line. And breathing and expanding. Good, and then from here, we'll lengthen, and we'll come back up and bring that down for a moment. So again, I'm gonna keep my grip right where it is because I'm gonna try and take this all the way back to the top of my hips. So if you're doing the same thing, remember wider grip if you need to, long arms. Taking it up, maybe taking it somewhere to the top of the hips or maybe not that far. Maybe just the center part of the back is where you need to be. And then when you're ready, carefully take that up and back around. Good. So I'm just going to put this to the side. We're going to come back to this here in just a few moments. But from here, just kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And if you want to take the hands to the shoulders and kind of get those nice shoulder circles and that movement, just loosening things up again, then go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we are going to actually start on our backs today. So I am going to carefully come off my blanket. I'm going to set this blanket aside. Good. I'm going to take out this hair clip here. Good. And as I lie down on my back here, I'm just going to take a moment to kind of wiggle in and settle in that pelvis, finding that safe neutral. So safe neutral, tailbone is heavy and connected. Maybe the pubic bone and the two hip bones are nice and even. They're in that same plane. So one side's not higher or lower than the other. Maybe a natural curvature in that low back and low rib cage is anchored. Try to be wide to the collarbone. We're going to take this strap. Good. And we're going to use this as kind of do a little bit of an opening stretch and a little bit of a hip opener here. So I've got my strap around the center part of my right foot. Good. I'll take off this sock here so you can see my foot a little bit better. Okay. So I've got that around the foot, and you choose your grip. So some people kind of like this forward grip. Some people kind of like this other end grip. Find the grip that's appropriate for you as you bring that leg back towards the face. Keep a little micro bend in this knee here. So some people might look like this. That's fine. You go to where you can go. And I'm breathing and I'm expanding. And coming back to that intention, clarity of purpose. What is my purpose with this practice? Or your own. Good, and then we'll come back up. Good, so I'm going to take both straps into the right hand. I'm going to turn my right toes, knees, and hips out away from the body. So my heels swinging inward. Both hips are going to stay grounded as I take that leg out to the right. Good. So this should be a little bit of a deeper inner thigh stretch here. And I'm breathing and expanding the rib cage again. I'm not letting the shoulders or the hips come off. So if your left hip lifted a little bit when you took this right leg to the right, lift your right leg a little bit more so that hip can anchor down. And then when you're ready, using the strap to assist you, bring that back up. and taking everything back to parallel. So toes, knees, and hips are going to face the face. Good. From here, I'm going to extend my left leg long, and I'm going to take that strap into the other hand. For this one, I am going to put a little bit of a bend in the knee. Good. So my other hand's going to come out to the side, and I'm just going to arc over. So not a full twist here just yet. I just want to get a little bit deeper right into here. Okay. So this isn't really about the spine or the torso. This is about opening this area right here. Good. And then we'll come back to center. Good. And I'm just going to do a mid-air switcheroo. So I'm just going to slip off my other grippy sock here just so that you can easily see my foot at home with respect to my tapestry. So find the grip that's appropriate for you on this side. So for me I already feel tightness just being right here. So you might do that too. Remember, micro bend in the knee. And then from here, when you're ready, just take that leg back to your limit. And it might not look like your other side. And I'm breathing and expanding. I'm staying close to my intention. I'm trying to relax through my face. And then from here, I'm going to release that back center. Good. Both straps into the left hand now. Same thing as the other side. Toes, knees, and hips are going to turn out to the left. Heel's going to swing in towards the midline of the body. Both hips, both shoulders stay grounded as you take this leg out towards the left. Notice the inner thigh stretch here. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that back in the center. Take toes, knees, and hips back towards the face. Extend your other leg long. Switching hands. Good. Hitting that little bend in the knee. So remember, the goal of this beginning stretch is the outside of that thigh and hip, not so much the torso. So we're just crossing over. And some people might have to kind of move down, move up, finding your sweet spot here. That's okay. And then when you're ready, we'll come back into center. And we'll remove that foot from the strap. We are done with the strap, so you can kind of put that to the side now. Bring knees into the chest and rock side to side. Now notice how you feel on the outer and inner thighs. Now we're going to go into our first twist. So we are going to actually do this yin style. I'm just going to come up and grab my timer here, so we're not here for too long or not enough time. But I'm going to come into tabletop position. Knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor. Arms can come out to the side here. Belly button is into the spine. And I'm going to let my knees come over to my right. Good. And I'm going to open this chest as I look towards my left. And we're going to try to be here for 3 minutes. So breathe and expand. Always staying with breath. Always coming back to intention. So remember, if you need to come out of here at any time before the 3 minutes are up, please do so. You can always take one leg at a time back to center to come out of here. Good. We're coming up on the 2nd minute. Good, we're halfway there. So again, come back to yourself. Do you have any places that you could soften? Are you gripping anywhere? Is that the face, the neck, the hips? You're going into the final minute. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So head is back to center. So you might have some little vulnerable areas here. So I'm going to recommend one leg at a time coming back. Nice, slow, and gentle. And just gently rock side to side. Notice how you feel. Notice how one side feels compared to the other. And then when you're ready, get the switching sides here. Good. We're going to take that into the other side. So again, tabletop, knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor, arms to the side, belly button in nice and tight. I'm actually going to move this down a little here. Good. And then whenever you're ready, take those knees over to the other side. Find breath and expansion, and we'll be right here for 3 minutes. So I like to close my eyes in these longer poses. You'll see me do that here, only opening them to check time. But you're free to also keep them open the entire time. Different people have different reasons for closing and keeping their eyes open. Maybe you already can tell the difference between one side or the other. So this side feels a lot tighter right now, at least at this point, than my other side did. Good, we're into the second minute. Almost at the halfway point. Checking back in with breath, finding that nice expansion. Coming back to clarity of purpose, or whatever you set your intention as. In less than a minute. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So head will come back to center. Remember, nice and careful, one leg at a time, back to center here. Nice little wiggle, 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 side to side. Maybe taking knees or hands to knees and just make some little circles here for a moment. And then maybe taking that in the opposite direction. Good. So now that we're a little bit more open, we are going to come up and do some other things. So I'm just going to take my feet down. I'm going to lift my hips, shift to the other side, rolling to my side, and carefully pressing myself up. Good. So from here, let's go ahead and go into a back bend, and then we'll come into another forward fold, and then we'll try again into another back bend. So from here, I'm going to come into melting heart, also known as puppy and other practices. So I like to start this one on all fours. And remember, if you're someone who cannot take your chest all the way down to the floor, you can always bring in a pillow, a folded blanket, a block, something like that there for support. But from here, I'm going to try and keep my hips over my knees, my belly button is in. So option one, some of you might choose to come to your forearms here, and then shine the heart forward, tipping the pelvis back, just like maybe you would do in a cow pose. Maybe this is your melting heart. Option two is putting a block or something supporting under the chest. Maybe arms can come longer. For those of you that want to come with me to the full, then maybe you can just slide on down here. Good. The full, the chin is on the floor, but if you've got some neck issues and that extreme extension is not for you, then take your forehead down to the ground. The belly button is in towards the chest. Now, let me get this started. Good. We are going to be here for 2 minutes. And we're still breathing and expanding. And you might notice some areas of resistance. So it's not completely uncommon. But be mindful what that resistance is. Is your body resisting because you're going past your limit and it doesn't want to cause injury? Is it resisting from other habit patterns and holding patterns, and so it doesn't want to move beyond that safe place, so therefore it's resisting? So be mindful about how you're resisting. I'm still expanding the rib cage. We've got 1 minute left. Good. So from here, I'm going to take my forehead down. My hands are under my shoulders. I'm going to press myself back up. Good. And I'm going to shift back. Good. So just a little child's pose, just kind of countering that. So this child's pose looks very similar to melting heart. In fact, when I started practicing, I thought it was the same thing, only chest was down, but it's not. It's the hips over the knees. It's actually extension versus flexion. So from here, when we're ready, we're gonna come up. Good. And then I'm going to just cross my ankles. Good. And then I'm just gonna take my legs forward. So we're gonna come into a caterpillar here. And be mindful that in caterpillar, some people need to sit up a little bit. Some people, just take this out. Some people need to have cushion or something here for support. We're gonna try this one for 4 minutes. So be mindful of what you need. In fact, I'm just going to do a just in case and bring in this blanket here to sit on. Okay. Legs can be together or a little bit wider apart if you need that. So be mindful of what you need. Feet are in flexion, tight hamstring people. You can always put something under your knees here for support so you don't have to think about trying to keep them bent. And I'm gonna make sure I'm in an anterior tilt of the pelvis. So tailbone comes behind, hip bones rock forward. And then when you're ready, big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. And when you cannot come any more forward, then let it drop. And we'll breathe and expand into the back body here for 4 minutes. Now remember, all of these poses don't feel like too much in the beginning, but they do the longer you stay. So if you need to come out of here again before the 4 minutes are up, please do so. We're 1.5 minutes in. Over halfway there. Now I just caught myself holding on to my shoulders. They were kind of creepy towards the ears. So remember to keep the shoulders relaxed as well if you can. Good. Going into the final minute here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So remember, low back's going to be vulnerable here as well as parts of the mid back. So carefully, carefully, carefully come out of there. Good. Before we go into our next one, just take a gentle, gentle twist to one side. And a gentle, gentle twist to the other side. Good. So from here, take your peace fingers, take them behind the knees, and pull your feet up here. So finding a little bit of a diamond shape going into Baddha Konasana, the cobbler's pose. Some people call it butterfly pose. I'm just going to turn around and face you. So coming into another little hip opener here, and because we were just in some deeper flexion, we're going to keep the spine long and staying in that extension. Kind of give it a little bit of relief there too. And then we'll go into some half saddle after this. So we're going to try this for 2 minutes. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, long spine as you fold. Keep that length as you bring your hands down. And I forgot to mention, but again, if you've got, a lot of space under here, you can always fill that in. And notice maybe the places you feel sensations here. So I feel it in my hips for sure. I also feel it a little bit in my inner thigh. Good, final minute. Relax the face, relax the shoulders. Again, if you're gripping at the hips, can you release? Good. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So again, carefully come up out of there. Good. And we're going to set up for half saddle. So for me in my half saddle, I'm just going to turn my blanket around here because I am going to sit on it. Now, caution to those that have knee issues, this can be very interesting in your knees. So if you've got existing knee issues, I recommend that you start sitting higher up. The higher up you sit, the less intense this is on the knee. And for anybody, regardless of experience level, remember, stretching is okay, but if you have a sensation where you feel like something's going to rip or just pull apart, if you're going to be there for any longer, please don't stay there. Carefully come out. So I'm going to build my bolster here because I am going to try and go back, and I want that support. So from here then, I'm going to start by taking, because this is a side that's facing you, I'm going to start by taking my left leg forward, and I'm sitting on the edge of my blanket here just so that when I take this foot back, then I don't get tangled up in that blanket as I sit on it. Good. I'm just going to make a few little adjustments here. So I'm making sure I can sit nice and tall. I'm making sure that I don't have any toes or skin or anything like here that kind of wants to get caught up in something. So as you can see, eventually, theoretically, hips and knees are kind of going forward in this alignment. This knee is out to the side. And it is all I can handle. So I'm not going to force it into that alignment by bringing it back in, because I feel a pretty good stretch right here. So this is where I'm going to stay. So we're going to try this for 3 minutes. So let's go to 2.5 minutes, because we'll try and bring in that full saddle in. So for the first minute, I always just like to sit up, let everything just kind of settle in. And remember, it's always okay to just kind of rub that area and around the knee and maybe the shin and the calf, maybe the tops of the feet. Think about ears, shoulders, and hips. Expansion when you breathe. So as we start to begin to approach the end of this first minute, remember, yes, you're going to see me go back a little bit. Do you have to do it? No. If it's better for your body to stay upright, then stay up here. And there's varying degrees of coming back. Some people are just going to take your hands back here. Okay. Some people are going to come, I should take my timer with me, all the way back here. I am supported on my bolster. Good. And so my knee popped up a little bit here, so I'm just going to pull that foot back. It's okay for me to do that. If you need to do that, that's fine. If you cannot keep, if you're coming back and you can't keep this knee from floating in the air, then you need to not be as back as far. So be mindful of that as well. A floating joint is a risky joint here. I am technically in a back bend, so my belly button is in nice and tight towards my spine. Less than 30 seconds. So again, coming back into the breath, nice expansion. Coming back into your intention, the one that you set, or the one that I'm using, that clarity of purpose. Good, and then from here, when you're ready, I'm going to nod my chin. I'm going to take my hands beside me, and I'm going to use that as I carefully come up here. Good. I'm going to roll over onto my right or left side rather, and I'm going to release carefully that right leg. And I'm just going to kind of rub a little bit here. Maybe kind of just take that ankle around a few times. Good. So then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this bolster in this direction. And I'm going to turn myself around, and we'll get that half saddle on the other side. So this time, I'm going to sit to the corner here, or the edge here. My right leg is the one that's forward. That's the leg that you just had turning back. I'm going to just kind of roll over and take that left foot back. Good. Now I'm a little bit more open on this side presently. So my alignment's just a little bit better, but it's by no means perfect. And then from here, once you get situated, good. For the first minute, we'll just be right here. Remember, you can always rub. Sit higher if you need to, and notice too, you might be different in the knees and the hips on one side to the other. So maybe you sit higher on one side and sit lower on the other side. That's okay. And some of you might be fine, and maybe you don't need to sit on anything, and that's okay too. I always need my bolster to go back now that I'm 42 and do have some previous back injury. But I don't always need to sit up on a blanket. Sometimes I can get away with not sitting on one. And then I have other days where I need to sit up on 3. And that's okay too. Good. So as we start to approach The end of this first minute, going into the second, choose your path. Do you need to stay here? Are you going to come back a little bit? Or are you going to come back the rest of the way? Good. Now as you get back there again, watch this front knee, this bent knee. Is it floating? Or can you place it down? Just kind of take the ankle, kind of gently tug back, nothing extreme. Remember, joints are in vulnerable positions here. Belly button is still tight into the spine. You've got 1 minute. So again, find somewhere that you can soften. Can you soften through the face? Maybe the shoulders, maybe the glutes. Can you soften the breath? In about 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So from here, I'm going to nod my chin. My hands are beside me. I'm going to carefully press myself up. I'm going to roll over to that opposite side as I carefully release. Good. And again, you can roll that ankle around. You can rub, rub, rub. You can bouncy, bouncy, bounce. Do what you need to do to make you feel a little bit better than where you were. Good. Okay. From here, we're going to do one more little hip opener, thigh opener, and then we will try to do the full. So from here, I'm just going to move this bolster a little bit out of the way. I'm just turn my blanket back around here. Good. So we're going to come to straddle. So straddle is when we take both legs out to the side. Good. So remember, think about maybe that 85 to 90%ish. You don't want to come into your widest and deepest right in the beginning. Your body needs to have somewhere for it to go. But I'm going to make sure, again, I'm in that anterior tilt of the pelvis. So tailbone comes behind, hip bones rock forward. Toes, knees, and hips are facing the ceiling. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. Come to your limit. You can fill in the space with props if you need to. And we'll be here. Get my timer. For a juicy 3 minutes. So maybe notice, I just noticed it in one leg. When you folded forward, if toes, knees, and hips rocked inward, can you bring them back towards the ceiling? Again, be mindful with those knees if they need support because you're tight in the hamstrings. Think about lengthening the spine. Can you shine your heart a little bit more towards the floor? So try not to have this little closing hump here. Breathe and expand that rib cage. We are into the second minute. Halfway there. 1 minute left. Finding that clarity of purpose, that breath, or your own intention. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Carefully come up from there. Good. As you come up from here, take the peace fingers, take them behind the knees, carefully bring them in, maybe together, maybe a little shake out here. Good. So hopefully everyone feels pretty good and prepared for trying full saddle. So I sit very differently in a full saddle than I do in a half saddle. And you can stack blankets and different things, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sit on this bolster, and I'm just going to kind of have it to the side here just so you can see from a side view. And I'm going to have these blankets behind me here close. I've got a couple folded blankets just in case I need to sit a little bit higher. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm just going to do that as a precaution and have one blanket right on top of here. You can also do this stacking blocks. But what we're going to do here, good. So I'm just going to take my legs on the outside of this bolster cushion. Good. And I'm just going to sit on it here. Now, this is where I am today. Sometimes I can do this sitting on just one block and not have to be that high. So you might find yourself in a similar position as well. But we're only going to try this for about 1.5 minutes, so not very long at all. Again, the higher you sit, the easier it is on the knees. The lower you sit, so the original goal of this pose is kind of your bottom, your tailbone roots all the way down into the floor or the earth, and everything is here. And then some people can go back like that. I am not one of those people. For me, it's going to be a personal triumph the day that I can do this, just sitting up right here without sitting on a block or a prop or what have you, versus going into the back bend. So if you think that going into a back bend is pretty intense, if you do that with me with one leg back, one leg forward, whoo, you haven't experienced too much intensity until you've tried it with both knees bent back and going back. But again, that's really risky. So unless you're just super, super ready for it, no props to sit on, you're anchored to the floor, you're at ease in that position, I would not recommend that one. And also a reason as to why I don't demo it, because I don't want people to try it. Good. And believe it or not, we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So from here, I'm just going to kind of come forward here. I'm going to remove these props. But I'm going to set myself up. We're going to come to Savasana from here. So I'm going to set myself up with some props today. So I'm going to take this blanket, and I'm going to use that as a little neck pillow. And then I'm going to use my bolster under my legs here, kind of like a psoas muscle, hip flexor release. And so we're just going to be here for a little bit. So I want you to just really breathe, kind of sink in. If you don't like props for your Savasana, you can come nice and long. You can be on your side, on your belly, you choose. I'm just going to kind of bring this in here. Arms to the side. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. And I'm going to settle in here for a few moments. And maybe ponder my clarity of purpose while being thankful for the opportunity for this practice. Taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of the fingers and the toes. Choosing stillness or maybe taking knees into your chest. Be careful, maybe one leg at a time might be a little bit of a better option for you. You can keep the upper body grounded, or maybe you want to lift it gently into an upper body hug or full body hug. And then from here, choosing some stillness, or maybe moving any of your props out of the way if you use any for your Savasana time. Let's scoot this out of the way. Extending legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes. Full body stretch. Point and flex through those feet. Bend and stretch through those hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that works best for your body in this moment. And then when you're ready, carefully pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Maybe the same one where you started this practice, maybe a different one. Good. And finding a nice tall spine, your shoulders and hips. Noticing how you feel now versus when we started. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands in the heart center. Reconnecting with that intention you made for yourself one more time. The one I gave you, clarity of purpose. We'll take our thumbs to our forehead for good and true thoughts. To our lips for good and kind words. And to our hearts for open and loving hearts. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted. No gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. You have a wonderful day and rest of your week ahead. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for this Yin Yoga practice. As always, if you need to see anything again, have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And I hope to see you again soon.